say we go right down.
It's the greatest, it's the best, it's safe, and it's beautiful.
I love Tobago, baby. Coming back next year. Hey!
Playing pan on the streets is a magical experience. When the band strike up, it's rhythm, steel and powder. This is Tobago Carnival, Pan in Paradise.
Tobago is the best.
Tobago Carnival is the new home for the legend of Calypso. Where else can you get sweet Calypso music that gives you that nostalgic feeling?
Soca Titans is we title, is we monarch. We built artists from scratch who can perform with the best. Real titans of soca.
When last you've been to a party, plenty women looking so nice. We must be in paradise.
This year, Ritual takes on new space and dimension. Traditions will be reimagined, breaking free, and taking on new meaning on the road.
I love the energy.
This year, the revelry is bigger and better. More colors, more meaning, great packages for the masqueraders. Tobago Carnival is freedom.
This year promoting safety in all events for Tobago Carnival. This year promoting whining, not minding people business. This year promoting clean fun, security and freedom.
Freedom to be any version of yourself that you choose to be with love and safety. Here, you have permission to be you, uninhibited and free.
So what you waiting on? This year, this October 2024, experience the ritual, revel in paradise, release yourself. From the greatest little island on the planet, this is the Tobago Carnival 2024.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome Trinidad and Tobago viewers across the Caribbean, wherever you may be viewing Book Club Corner. Welcome. Happy Hump Day, as they say. This is the day before the holiday. Tomorrow is Emancipation Day, and there's a lot happening all across Trinidad and Tobago, and as well some other islands as well, because we do share those dates with other islands. And there is the Emancipation Village happening in community development, Emancipation Village happening in Trinidad. There's Heritage happening. Let me tell you, get ready tomorrow, because tomorrow around 9 or 9:30, 10 o'clock, they are going to be convening at the Coliseum and heading to Storby for a parade in the streets for emancipation. So if you're into that, get ready for that. But we are here today in beautiful Scarborough, Tobago, as usual, talking to authors, literary lovers, and those in the publishing industry. And today is no different. We have an amazing luminary here with us today. We have Dr. Rita Pemberton. Welcome, Dr. Pemberton.
Thank you very kindly.
Glad to be here. Yes. Dr. Pemberton is, one of those persons, super smart. She has so many accolades. And please don't force me to remember them. Please bring them up on the screen so I can just go through them, because let me tell you, you'll have to learn this off by heart for you to remember all of these things. And there's more to come, right? She's a former president of the Association of the Caribbean Historians. She's also the CSEC and Caribbean History Examining was former on their team. She's a former senior UWI lecturer, former COSTAT director, and my favorite former would be the former Nallis Library director. Listen, I'm in love with libraries, y'all. I can't say enough good things about them. So we're so happy to have you here with us today. I've been trying to get Dr. Pemberton to come to Tobago to do this interview for the longest while. But we all know what was happening, right? How are you recovering?
Slowly, but getting there.
Very good.
Yeah.
All of Tobago and Trinidad is behind you for your speedy and full recovery. She had some surgery, and we are so happy to see you back in Tobago for Heritage, and you're very dressed. Listen, right up. I love this kit.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. But you always full African wear. I love that about you. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do it on Book Club Corner. We have to, before we get into anything, we do the 5 S's of wine tasting. And today, today we are sampling some Jofi wine again. This is cassava wine.
Cassava?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And this is very apropos for Heritage, right?
Yes.
Blue food, root crops, very African. Cassava wine, and this is local. We only support and drink local wines here. So if you have a local wine you want to share with us, feel free to bring it over. But this is cassava wine, and we do the 5 S's of wine tasting, where we look at the wine. So we look at the color, we look at the clarity, and then we swirl it, where we look at the legs to see the viscosity, how sweet it might be, and then we sniff it. Because it has been, it was aerating for a while.
So then you get the vapors coming up.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then we sip and we savor. Oh, this is a good one. We haven't had a bad wine on Book Club Corner ever. Ever. Look, are you into wines, Dr. Pemberton?
I try now. So I will buy a bottle and come in for that.
It's really, really nice. This is from Jofi, guys.
Jofi?
Cassava wine. Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yes.
It's nice.
It's sweet, but it's not too sweet.
It has a nice feel. But I'm not a wine expert.
Very smooth.
It's smooth.
Very smooth.
Yes.
Thank you for this, Jofi wine. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going on a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be getting into the emancipation of it all, the heritage of it all. The day before the holiday, today is Wednesday, the 31st, last day in July, and we're here with Dr. Pemberton. Don't go too far. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Get your quality furniture and appliances at Standards. Frigidaire gas range $599. Serta base and mattress $1,899. RC 50-inch smart 4K TV as low as $2,599. Yes, at Standard, nobody beats us on price. Believe it.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Last year, October 2023, the island tilted. The peaceful bliss of sea, sun, and
I can't live without you. I can't be without you for too long. Cause when I'm around you, I feel like the heavens is coming down. I feel it in my soul every time we on the road. It's a miracle.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Welcome back. We're here once again with an amazing luminary. We're here with Dr. Rita Pemberton here on Book Club Corner, and happy pre-emancipation to you. We're going to be talking to Dr. Pemberton today about quite a few topics. And Dr. Pemberton, let me just get into it.
Sure.
I did my research and I saw you presented on a panel for the United Nations.
Yes.
And it was about the transatlantic slave trade. Yes.
Yes.
And the name of that was Living Legacy of 30 Million Untold Stories. Tell us about that presentation and about that experience.
Now, the whole idea of it was to remind people about the slave trade and the horrors that African people endured in the slave trade from West Africa to the Caribbean. Now, one of the issues associated with the trade is that there has been much, well, a lot of people forget about the trade. You deal with slavery, you come to Trinidad, Tobago, Jamaica, Barbados, wherever, and what happened to enslaved people. But what had happened to enslaved people, and this is my exposure to that activity, you know, got me into looking at the slave trade much closer, because it is not only from the coast of West Africa to the Caribbean.
Really?
No.
Okay.
How do you think they got them?
Yes. How did they get them?
Well, there was a big business selling people. So human commodities were marketed across Africa before they got to the coast. So you had what is called a coffle.
A coffle.
Coffle. Which was a line of people chained together, having around their necks
the manacles.
having stuff in their hands, on their heads, no freedom to do anything, not to escape, right? And they were carted for miles and for months across the breadth of Africa to get to the coast. And it was a journey that took them across rivers, across drains, tributaries, mountains, properties belonging to other communities. So when the trade started first, it was on the coastline thing. But then after a while that couldn't work, couldn't bring the numbers. And on the demand side, the demand was growing. More plantations were opening up in the United States and the Caribbean. They wanted more people.
Thriving business.
It was a big market. So when you were captured in from the forest region of Africa, you come through that forest in your coffle line, which means you really can't scratch anything. You have to keep the pace of the coffle. So if you walk through a drain and you get bitten by a snake and you die, you are dragged along for a while before you are set free. And, well, there's no funeral, you're left to die. The coffle went from one market to the other. So as a prisoner, a captive, you will go to a market and then you'll be examined by the purchasers. Teeth, eyes, legs, body. Are you fit enough? Would you get a good price? And so it went on from one market to the other until sometimes they bought more in one market, sometimes they sold more in a market. And so you carry these people. So some of them had been in that coffle line for months. We talk about the ships. But after that grueling experience, you come to the coast where you're put in a fort, because each country had its fort, a security base, because there's heavy rivalry for these commodities. So the French had their forts, the British had their forts, the Dutch had their forts, and all of them heavily guarded. Poor treatment for the poor captives. So imagine you come across land, you spend 3 months traveling, going from market to market, being taken from market to market, and then you come to the coast, and there you are waiting for the ship. So you might come from inland in the forested region, you've never seen a boat, a ship. You're absolutely terrified. So the whole experience is not just the months at sea. That was bad enough, but on top of what you've experienced in the coffle, it really was a stain on humanity.
Your experience of presenting at the United Nations event, how did that, how was it received, and what was the purpose and perhaps the intent of having your, because it was a number of persons presenting.
Yeah, a number of different people. Yes.
So what was the purpose and intent of that? Not just remembrance, of course, there must have been a bigger purpose.
No, the larger purpose was, of course, edifying people, so that there's more information about the slavery, because I think we had gotten to a point where it was like nothing. That people didn't understand really what slavery was, and I had people say, did that really happen? So you had to have some mechanism to sort of bring home that it wasn't a trite activity. It was very deliberate. It was very lucrative for those, but it was an extremely painful experience for the captives, the communities from which they came, and the country from which they came.
And what would you say to those who say, that happened so long ago, gosh, let it go now, why we keep talking about it? What do you have to say to those persons?
I asked them why they have a birth certificate.
Explain.
If you have a birth certificate that tell me you were born 10 years ago, why is that important? Or if it's 20 years ago, why is that important? It's the same for the same reason. It is about being a person. You have an identity. You come from somewhere. The question for us is where.
Yes.
You know, and people want to know, everybody wants to know where they come from. If you have children who lose their parents or who are adopted, they always want to know who their blood family is.
That is so powerful. I'm stealing that answer. Anybody I hear, why do you have a birth certificate? I'm going with that. Because let me tell you, that is such a good answer. When you really think about it, and, you know, coincidentally, my husband's birthday was yesterday, so happy belated birthday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday. Okay.
Yeah, he's an emancipation baby. You know, we always use that time to remember when you were born and all of that.
We
And
love
that
to
is
go
so
back.
true. Yeah.
It's normal with human beings that you go
So
back.
that is so powerful. When we look at where we came from and where we are now, you know, we want to remember where we came from, but we also want to remember that we have a future, that we have somewhere a goal in mind, something to work towards.
Yes.
Listen, why did you choose history as a topic, as a career? I mean, it has been very beneficial, not just for you, for edification, but, you know, Tobago and Trinidad, we benefit from your knowledge and from your work. But why did you choose that to go into? What interested you about it?
Well, one of the things is that when I did history at school, there began to be West Indian history, right? History of the Caribbean. And it was always very striking. And I remember looking at a poem written by Eric Roach. And what Eric Roach said is he went to school and he learned so much about the rest of the world. He said, I learned nothing about myself. And in those days, you were taught history of Europe, history of England, how many wives what king had and which one he murdered, and, you know, that kind of stuff. And really, nothing about you. I remember my first one biology class very well. Why? Because we had this biology text, and it talks about a typical fish. This typical fish was a stickleback. Well, I have never heard
Well, this is the first time
about that fish before in my life.
Yeah.
It might have been typical for people in the UK. But we have a little jacks here. You know, we couldn't do with that.
Snapper,
flying fish, all kinds of other things. All kinds of other things, right? And we had to draw that diagram with the stickerback fish, with the dorsal fin and the tail fin. And, you know, you learn so many foreign things.
I'm so glad you said that, because that goes right back to those who, what they say, those who pay the piper call the tune, right? And if you're writing the textbooks, if it is a foreign syllabus, it is going to be what they prescribe for you to learn. And we're having an experience where the Division of Education had put together a group of persons who would be feeding us or taking us into a space where there's now a Tobago syllabus. Yeah? And, you know, I think the intent is very powerful, because it is intending to perhaps take us into that space. How important do you think it is for us as Caribbean people, not just Tobago itself, but as Caribbean people, to have a syllabus, to have textbooks that are focusing on us and our history, and not just our history, but our local fauna, flora, what is around us daily? How important is that?
That is extremely important. And it is not only for us to have a curriculum in the schools, primary schools. It is about having a learning experience for everyone. Now, we have been cultured into this learning that is so very separate. So if you're going to be an engineer, you do chemistry, physics, maths, and maths. And if you're going to do medicine, then you do chemistry, biology, maybe maths, maybe add maths. And you come out of those experiences not even understanding the society in which you have to deal. And so if you take the doctors, the people studying medicine, for example, it used to be that what was right in medicine was what was prescribed. The first thing they tell you is that in bush medicine, as we love to call it, bush medicine, you don't know the contents, you don't know the percentages. Hello. So if my grandmother chopped some 2 leaves of bitter bush and squeeze it and give me some salt, and I take that and my cough goes, it works. So it was condemned. In fact, the people of Tobago, the doctors who were here, they were awful people, by the way. But because they really overcharged people. But they said that the people in Tobago do not like to come to the doctor. But it was more than that. It's the cost of the doctor.
It's the cost, the attitude.
The attitude of the doctor.
Come on.
And the fact you will come out from that experience having paid and not gotten better.
Having paid to be mistreated.
Yes.
And nobody's listening to you.
And nothing, and you don't improve.
No.
So now you develop a perception, and so this is part of the whole colonial experience, that you are inferior. The things you believe in are inferior, and therefore what you must do is to give up those and seek the elevation.
Yes.
In everything. Everything had a class.
Yes. It always amazes me, this concept that what we have is inferior.
Is inferior.
And that we weren't civilized, right?
Yes.
They were bringing us into a sophisticated, civilized space.
And civilization meant that you go to their church, you speak language. So that language is not good. Tobago language is not good.
Yeah.
You must speak the Queen's English. And when you went to school, and particularly to secondary school, you were expected to demonstrate how learned you were by your language.
I had a story from my mom. She said she was on a train. They had trains when she was coming up, and then they got rid of it, sold it to Venezuela, she said. But she was on a train. This mother was asking her son what time it is, and he say it's 1:30, and she hit him one slap. Speak properly. He say it is 1:30. So mommy said, she nearly died of laughter because he basically said the same thing, but the accent and the intonation was what she deemed to be not proper.
Yeah, that's inferior.
So you have to give them this foreign accent to be proper. Well, let me tell you, we're going on a quick break because we're enjoying some local
wine.
Yeah, local cassava wine from the ground right here in Tobago, right? So cheers to you, Dr. Pemberton. We'll be sipping on some wine. We'll be back in a few minutes, and when we come back, we're getting into more of these emancipation, historical heritage conversations here with Dr. Pemberton. See you in a short while.
Oh yeah! I said I can't wait for Tobago in October. Embark on an adventure to the greatest little island on the planet. Tobago invites you to ritual, revelry, and release. Whining in the bay, oh son. having Bago fun in Bago drinking rum. We go jump up and carry on. From October 25th to the 27th, 2024, experience the energetic vibe, the vibrant colors, and the unforgettable spirit of the Tobago Carnival. Down here in Tobago. In Tobago. Whether you're chipping down the road or marveling at the beauty and creativity of our artisans, Tobago Carnival is an adventure.
I said I wait and I wait and I wait and I wait for Carnival to come. So I call all my friends, making my plans for the Tobago Carnival fun.
Join us for ritual, revelry, and release. Tobago Carnival 2024, where every moment is memorable.
I said I can't wait for Bago in October.
Pamstar Promotions and Charns Bookstores are happy to bring the 2024 New Wave Max Championships to Lowlands Mall, 8th to 10th August. Participants must be between ages 9 to 12 years. Lots of prizes to be won. To register, call 471-2604. For the best prices on school books, WhatsApp 471-2604 or 371-4824. 3 lucky students will win their book list for free.
Go in, you have to stop it, you have to stop it.
Welcome to my kitchen, guys.
You have to stop it again.
That's it, that's the intro. Let's do it one more time, right?
Are you ready to optimize your wedding business for engagement season and book more clients? Refine is the place to be. Refine, the Wedding Business Summit. Saturday, 14th September 2024 from 9 a.m. Pigeon Point Heritage Park, Tobago. This premier event is designed specifically for Caribbean wedding industry professionals. Gain expert insights, practical knowledge, and valuable connections that can help you thrive in the destination wedding market. Register now at refinesummit.com. It is time to refine. Refine, the Wedding Business Summit. Get insider info, advice, and insights from local, regional, and international players in the destination wedding market. Refine, the Wedding Business Summit. Saturday, 14th September 2024, Pigeon Point Heritage Park, Tobago. It's time to refine.
And welcome back to Book Club Corner, right here in beautiful Scarborough, Tobago, in the Tobago Update Studio. We're chatting here with an amazing historian, Dr. Rita Pemberton. We're so happy to be chatting with her. During the break, we were talking about hair, we were talking about all sorts of things, wine, here. Listen, y'all need to get on here. Yeah. But Dr. Pemberton, I want to talk about quickly and just briefly this joint select committee that you sat on for the Tobago bill. right? As we're talking about emancipation, charting your own course, freedom of not just of yourself, of your mind, of your finances. How did that Joint Select Committee presentation, because it's on YouTube, right? So if you want to go see it, we can go have a look. Tell us about it. Yeah.
But the whole idea behind it is that a number of the members had no clue about the history of Tobago.
Oh.
And, well, that is not surprising because it was not taught in the times that we went to school. And people can understand why this autonomy drive was so important to Tobago, why it keeps coming up. And the issue would only be clarified if people understood the history of the island.
So why was that important? Why is the idea of autonomy or the autonomy conversation or the Tobago Bill, why is an understanding of history, where Tobago came from, our history and heritage, why is that important to the conversation?
Yeah, because this is what makes you. So you grow up, you're an island for somebody else's benefit. The island is populated in the interest of those people. And the people who really did the work were maltreated. So then the island stopped, the plantation and economy fell. It crashed. So the ends of the century. So you spend the whole block of your life working for an industry and people trying to keep you from getting elevated from estate labor. And then you find yourself put in a situation where the organs of government have been removed. So you have Crown Colony government. So again, all dictates come from the imperial government. And there's little thought for you as a person. So it was that the administrators were all landowners. So as a resident of Tobago, as an enslaved resident, liberated man, he emancipated and he's worked and toiled and he bought a piece of land. Well, no, you expect that you would have a chance to participate in the decision making about the island. But no, it didn't happen. So then what they did was to say, well, you're not making money. We're going to either hook you up. Well, it was going to be a hookup, either with Grenada and somebody else, with Barbados. Barbados promptly said no, and then they managed to cajole Trinidad, although the Trinidad planting community was not really enamored with this union. So you get into the union now, and you still don't have a say, because you are joined with another colony which has its own system, and its ruling group was white, some with French origin, and no room for the people of Tobago who own land. In fact, the two colonies had separate land policies. Whereas in Tobago, because the estate operations had crashed, sugar was no longer the king in Tobago, and they sought to get rid of the properties. So they couldn't sell all of them. Nobody was really investing in large-scale property to get into any kind of big plantations. Sugar had gone through, cocoa had gone through. All you could do is to sell it in small lots to small planters who were willing buyers. So you bought, and you're still there. Some owned land, but they were working on estates also. They continued because that was the avenue. And so you're an island where nothing is done for the benefit of the people. That nobody thought it wise to provide elevatory kinds of development for the island. And unfortunately, I would say, they hit on another means of money making for Tobago, which was tourism. But that left you just as dependent as you were under the plantation system, because it was the same estates. People built estate kind houses that would appeal to the tourists, and the tourists came and they took pictures of the natives and that kind of thing. But you're not happy to remain in that arrangement, right? So the desire is across the century, 1838, we come into 1938 and we are just there.
Yes.
And then when we did have a representation, a representative sitting on the Legislative Council of Trinidad and Tobago, he was, well, first of all, it took 2 weeks to get from Tobago to Trinidad. So there's no arrangement in place to get you to meetings.
You only had 2 weeks. We scrolled for 3 hours.
For 2 hours.
Right now.
And sometimes the boats weren't running, so you just couldn't go at all. And there were no costs provided, so you had to bear the expenses. So you really had to be devoted to undertake that exercise. And then when you got there was absolute disrespect for Tobago. Well, what you want that for? You're no different from Toco or Palo Seco or, But no, we are different. We are not part of this landmass.
Yeah.
And so we have different interests, we have different concerns, and we'd have different needs.
Definitely.
And there was nobody to speak it. So we said, well, we have to speak up for ourselves. And this is how this idea of autonomy was engendered. And now the next thing for you is, having come out of a relationship with an imperial government that's distant, you're now in one where you are still inferior. Eh? So, and we were talking earlier about the language. So you identify yourself by the way you spoke.
Yes.
And that was an inferior language. So you see, you will pick up some of the language that is more typical of Trinidad, where their language is heavily influenced by multiple factors. You have the English, you have the French, you have the Indian.
Yeah.
So you have
plenty things.
Plenty things, and within the groups you have other things. I mean, everybody white wasn't English or French.
Yeah.
You have some other kinds of things thrown in. You have those who worked on the Spanish Main and who came back with some habits. You had the what do you call them? The Coco Pañals, the Venezuelans who came to work in the cocoa industry.
Yes.
So you have all those influences in their language, which Tobago didn't have.
When you talk about this heritage and where we came from, understanding the history so that, we can know where we're heading and perhaps the influence that we are looking for this bill to have. What are we looking for these two bills to have? Because we now have one act and now we're heading into two with the Tobago bill. It really is two bills. What I really want to ask is, in connection with this, the issue of ownership of land. When we talk about having ownership of the land and having your deed, right? It's a problem in Tobago where we don't have a deed for a lot of the persons. They live in there, been living there for ages, and don't have a deed for the land. And a lot of times I hear the rhetoric, as if they were irresponsible why this is happening. But this is something it's something that was handed down. It's something that came down the line.
It's a bad practice.
Yes. And
it's a result of a bad practice.
Talk to us about how did this start and how can we perhaps get out of this?
Well, it started with a desire of the land-owning community, largely white, to prevent black land ownership of large pieces of land. In order to do that, you made sure that land was not sold to them. But it became difficult with the great increase of estates that had gone under, and the owners were willing to sell them. So they started that. That didn't bring the sort of sales that would rid the island of that problem of these abandoned estates. So what the administration decided to do was to sell it in small lots and allow people to pay down and pay periodically until, you know, so these special terms for land were what they recommended. And so a number of people bought land like that. Estates were sold. Go down Tobago, West Hampton Estate, all of those were sold under those terms. And so you have all those settlements. Now, Trinidad Planters didn't like that at all. First of all, they didn't believe it should be sold on terms and they shouldn't be given any special period consideration. So you see different interests. You have a stronger plantation economy in Trinidad and a non-existent one in Tobago, but the decisions are being made. So there's one of you in the house and they think you're a joke anyhow. So that is the problem, or that was the problem. So with being in the house, one, the facility is not there. You can't rely on the boat. And when you're in there, you're not respected. You can't influence decision making. You could argue all you want about what is best for your island, but they're not prepared to pay for it because their interests are related to the sugar industry in Trinidad. So what is our answer? We have to speak for ourselves.
Yes. You know, it's very interesting, this post-emancipation period attitude and perspective. Because, you know, you'd expect, well, abolition of slavery, emancipation happened, you know, we're free. But attitudes did not change as easily as doing the act. You know, and we were still dealing with that. We're going on a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be speaking about the post-emancipation dissatisfaction. We're going to be talking about Belmana riots, the Confederation riot that happened in Barbados. We're going to be talking about some juicy facts. Don't go far. Get your snacks, get your drink, and come right back. Get your wine.
Get your wine.
And come right back to Book Club Corner. We'll be back chatting here with Dr. Rita Pemberton. We'll be back in a few minutes.
I'm so relieved Javel gave me this money. Now I could enjoy the holidays with my family and not have to worry about monies for bags, books, and shoes.
Javel? Who is Javel? She could give me some money too?
Javel is the July-August vacation education loan at Bethel Credit Union. Up to $20,000 to help with all additional expenses during this July-August.
Yes, you heard right. Call the Bethel Credit Union and ask for Javel. She'll hook you up with the money to take care of all your additional expenses this holiday season. Open to new members too. Get up to $20,000 and have a worry-free holiday with Javel. Call 639-8226 or 631-1336 or message us on Facebook for more information. Attention members, now is your chance to double or even triple your dividend payment with no increase in your existing loan payment. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to boost your dividends effectively. Whether you're planning a vacation or simply looking to maximize your savings, we've got you covered. Call us today at 639-8226 or 631-1336. Message us on Facebook for more information. Hurry, this offer won't last long. Bethel Credit Union, because we see you at BCU.
Get ready for the I Choose Sport Summer of Sport, and we're bringing the action to Tobago on Saturday, August 3rd. Win great cash prizes in our football tournament and show off your track and field skills. Have fun with our traditional and novelty games, bouncy castles, giveaways, and so much more. Meet some of our Tobago sporting legends up close. It all happens at the Montgomery Recreation Grounds from 10 a.m. on Saturday, August 3rd. See you there.
Welcome to the Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort, where we will be hosting the very first annual CM Golf Academy charity golf tournament. Some of the proceeds from this tournament will be going to my childhood school, the Montgomery Government School, and our neighboring school, the Bucko Government School, where we will be assisting students in various needs. We'll be having players from all over the globe, friends from Canada, Barbados, and also here in Tobago and from Trinidad, and few friends from America as well. So you can come here in the land of sea, sun, and sun, and come and have some fun with us here in Plantation.
Pamstar Promotions and Charns Bookstores are happy to bring the 2024 New Wave Maths Championships to Lowlands Mall, 8th to 10th August. Participants must be between ages 9 to 12 years. Lots of prizes to be won. To register, call 471-2604. For the best prices on school books, WhatsApp 471-2604 or 371-4824. 3 lucky students will win their book list for free.
Said I'm falling, falling, I'm falling. As I lay in my bed with my head to the ceiling. Say I'm drowning alone and I'm lost in my feelings. Somebody send me a sign, cause you know that I need it. Carnival, come back to me, cause you know you're my healing. I said it's okay, it's my therapy, therapy, my therapy. It take away all of my anxiety, anxiety, my remedy. I tell you that we all need love. Jump up and show me love, wind up and show me love. Together say we are.
And we're back with Dr. Rita Pemberton, and we're here chatting about some juicy facts and tidbits. On the break, we were talking about emancipation, post-emancipation, and what was interesting to me, and still is that Tobago's first people, what is the space that they exist in? The first people of Tobago. Because when you talk about first people, immediately people picture Trinidad, they picture Dominica, they picture anybody, St. Vincent, anywhere else but here. But Tobago had its own Amerindian group here.
Yeah, of course, they had several different groups living here.
Yes.
Several different groups. They were pushed out or killed. So some did not like the European invasion, and some decided to go. So they left. Of those who remained, a number of them died either whenever there were wars, and there were serious conflicts between the rival Europeans. And so they would have some, and they would have some. Some on either side. There would be a conversation promising them this, that, and the other. And in the end, all they wanted was to exploit. So some died in the conflicts, and some were forced out because that estate has now been set up on where you occupied, so then you can't live there anymore. So by the time we come down to the end of this century, the visibility of the First Peoples was very low, extremely low. In fact, there was a group living in Signal Hill, and I think that was the last group that is known to have existed on the island.
Yeah.
And the leader was a French speaker, so it's believed that he was part French. But there's no policy for them, there's no interest in them.
Yes.
They were just other peoples who could be exploited and who could be discarded, but they had to be displaced because the descriptions of the Europeans and the vendors of property in Tobago is that there's nobody living here. Only a few indigenous people, only a few, no big thing. But there were settlements all over the island, you know.
You took part in a lecture series between the Tobago Writers Guild and the library, and it talked about the First Peoples. I was privileged enough to see part of it, and one of the things that came out of that lecture is, about the evolution of the life in Tobago includes the First People and the several settlements that they put them in. Because as you say, they ran them off of where they were because they wanted that spot. The places they put them in. And, we want to make sure that while we're talking about the history and heritage of Tobago, we focus as well on the indigenous peoples of Tobago who were here. It's a funny conversation when they use the word indigenous, considering that the Amerindians did come from another space.
From another space.
Yeah, they came from
They
other
were the first
spaces.
peoples. That's why you call them the first peoples.
Exactly.
They were the first here.
They were the first here, but we want to make sure we have a conversation about this invisible group of people who were here and who still are here. Because I've spoken to quite a few people from Tobago and they tell me, I'm Carib.
Yes, they identify with.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's such an amazing story. We're talking about post-colonialism, post-emancipation, not colonialism, because
post-emancipation.
It's only new for colonialism we're really looking at, right? But when we talk about post-emancipation, that period where they had the Confederation riot and then the Bell Manor riot. Briefly, Dr. Pemberton, take us there. I mean, we're not going to get into it, right? You go look it up. Okay, guys, if you're in public, go look up Bell Manor riots if you've never heard of it, because you should by now. But if you've never heard of it, go look it up. What we want to talk about is perhaps what was happening, not just in Tobago, but across the Caribbean, in terms of this dissatisfaction with the post-emancipation expectation of what we were going to get. And what does that mean for us? Have we fully actualized this emancipation story and dream?
The answer to that is no.
Oh God.
But the thing about it is that emancipation was viewed differently by different people. So the Africans saw it with their expectations and ambitions in mind. The white land-owning class preferred not to see it with their plantation interests in mind. And so the whole post-emancipation period was marked by conflicts between a group of people who found themselves wanting to be free, thinking that they were going to be free, and finding themselves bonded in much the same way as had occurred prior to 1838. So there was that element of dissatisfaction in the population across the region. And there was no answer to it as far as the imperial government was concerned. What you do is to put them together, bunch them together. So you have a Tobago where the economy wasn't doing well. Well, we're not spending any more money on them, right? We invest in where money is to be had. So a colony, St. Vincent, Grenada, Tobago, they have to be dispensed of some. And then the best thing is to put them all together under a stronger economy. And that is how they were first touted as being put with Barbados.
Yeah.
Barbados says, no. We want to have nothing to do with those
born alone,
people.
we'll die alone. We want to come.
We're not going there. And the British acquiesced to Barbados. Then what to do with the rest of them? Well, put all of them together under a Grenada government. But the thing is that all of them had the same problem of lacking of the means to administer. And so that was not a feasible option. And then they came up with the bright idea that Tobago is near to Trinidad.
Yeah.
Trinidad could inject some of its plantation energy into Tobago. They could get cheap land and they could
Yes.
expand.
Proximity.
They weren't interested.
Uh-huh.
But their governor softened them on that issue, and unwillingly they accept the burden. That is how it was seen, that you are penniless, you are dependency, you're going to be a drain on our economy. We really don't want you, but
Yeah.
you know, so that was the nature of the relationship. And it was not that the people of Tobago had a chance to defend themselves. No, it was that Tobago, where the planters were concerned. Now, I'm not talking about the masses of the people out there, planting community and ruling class. They didn't want it.
Yeah.
You know, and so people started coming now to Trinidad as migrants looking for better job opportunities. And people found that those skilled men and women found that they could find easy jobs in Trinidad, certainly earning more. So you had the population drain coming from Tobago to Trinidad.
Yes.
So which means Tobago has been bereft of its human resources. So they're all serving in Trinidad as skilled workers, carpenters and so on, with very good reputation in terms of work ethic and so on. And the women as caregivers in the homes and maybe, you know, caring for children and so forth. But of course, they would be sending back money to Tobago, but the children would be going up with their grandmothers.
Yes.
And that had a good side because Granny didn't go to school, so Granny spoke Tobagonian.
Yes, preservation of the
So
culture.
Yes, cultural passing on was critical between that generation and the other one. It skip out the mother and who else who gone to Trinidad, because when they come back, they bring in some Trinidad things in terms of language.
Yes.
You know, among other things. So walking was another thing. Not in Tobago, you know, bus service. Everybody walked everywhere.
I bet it was fit.
Of course. When I went to Trinidad, I live in St. Augustine, going to campus, and the Tunapuna market. Them taking taxi. I said, what?
It's so true.
No, I walk down Austin Street, walk up East Main Road, get my stuff in the market, walk back and go. I mean,
I sure I was watching it googly eyed, like, where's she going?
You walk?
Yeah, where's she going?
Yes, I walk and I lived. You know,
you're still living in that
still living. You know, but you know, it is really a totally different kind of a culture. And then
Dr. Pemberton, I didn't bring you here alone to milk your brain cells of all the history and thing, eh?
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television. Your
multiple books. We have, as well as beyond traditions. That historical dictionary of Trinidad and Tobago. I know Michael Anthony had one.
Yeah, an earlier version.
Yes,
and then ours was a revised version.
Correct.
And what was the difference between those two is that my version, we sought to include people of Tobago who contributed.
Fantastic.
Because the one before didn't have that.
That's the one we need.
That's
that is the Trinidad and Tobago.
That's
the real Trinidad and Tobago book. Listen, we're going into the green room. The green room is where we share insights about publishing, about writing books with authors, publishers, for authors and publishers, from authors and publishers. And today, our question for the green room is, drum roll, what does it mean to be traditionally published? And traditional publishing is when the writer is paid by a publishing company. In exchange for that payment, the company can publish that work and have control of the rights to that work based on a contract, agreed upon. So if you are paid to publish, that's called traditional publishing. And if you pay the company to publish, that's called self-publishing. And we have somebody here who's you're traditionally published.
Yes.
What advice would you give to authors about the traditional publishing route?
For us in the Caribbean, the route is very restricted. There are few publishing houses, Ian Randall in Jamaica, the University of the West Indies Press. And if you are in the academic world, they frown on self-publishing, and some of the publishing houses that are around Trinidad, right? They wouldn't get you a job in a tertiary level institution. And so it depends on what you want. If you have stuff and you just want to get it out there,
yes,
it's faster with the private publishers than and go self-publishing route rather than try to do it through Ian Randall or UV Press. Ian Randall is fast.
Yes.
If you can pay.
Yes. Well, if you have the money, you could pay for anything.
If you have the money, he would dish out your book in 2 months.
I like that. Yeah, here, go and gather your coins if you want to head to...
I don't think coins would work. I think you better get some blue notes.
It's a euphemism. Trust me, it's a euphemism. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, boys and girls, children, you know, it's vacation time, so I know you all are watching of all ages. We're out of time today, but we're so happy to have had the illustrious Dr. Rita Pemberton here with us, chatting with us in, you know, about and in the pre-Emancipation Day celebration and observances, heritage. We're in the middle of heritage celebration here in Tobago. It's going down here in Tobago where the Coliseum in Tostobi tomorrow. Check that out. It's a holiday tomorrow, so rest and relax yourself, rejuvenate. But we want to share with you what's happening next week. Next week we have an amazing first-time author, and she is Ricia Borelli. And we welcome her to the set next week, Wednesday. Make sure you come back and check us out. And if you missed this episode and you would like to share it with somebody, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Club Corner. Tomorrow it will be posted, and from today you can always check out Tobago updates. We want to thank you for sticking with us, for checking us out, for chilling with us, drinking some wine with us.
Nice
yes. Cheers, Dr. Pemberton.
It really is nice.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with us, being here with us on Book Club Corner, and we welcome you next week, Wednesday, when we chat with Ricia Borelli. And until then, enjoy your emancipation, and let's be emancipated not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, psychologically as well. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you next week.
Last year, October 2023, the island tilted. The peaceful bliss of sea, sun, and sand was transcended as we took to the streets to revel in paradise.
We love Tobago Carnival!
Tobago! It's such a nice place!
Tobago Carnival, right here. We're not leaving it, we go right down.
It's the greatest, it's the best, it's safe, and it's beautiful.
I love Tobago, baby. Coming back next year. Hey!
Playing pan on the streets is a magical experience. When the band strike up, is rhythm, steel, and powder. This is Tobago Carnival, pan in paradise.
Tobago is the best.
Tobago Carnival is the new home for the legend of Calypso, Where else can you get sweet calypso music that gives you that nostalgic feeling?
Soca Titans is we title, is we monarch. We built artists from scratch who can perform with the best. Real Titans of Soca.
When last you've been to a party, plenty women looking so nice. We must be in paradise.
This year, Ritual takes on new space and dimension. Traditions will be reimagined, breaking free, and taking on new meaning on the road.
I love the energy!
This year, the revelry is bigger and better. More colors, more meaning, great packages for the masqueraders. Tobago Carnival is freedom.
This year promoting safety in all events for Tobago Carnival. This year promoting whining, not minding people business. This year promoting clean fun, security and freedom.
Freedom to be any version of yourself that you choose to be with love and safety. Here, you have permission to be you, uninhibited and free.
So what you waiting on? This year, this October 2024, experience the ritual, revel in paradise, release yourself. From the greatest little island on the planet, this is the Tobago Carnival 2024.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.